What's up, Thrallers? Miller here.
Necrotic Nick.
And we bring to you a new release by 12-Foot Ninja called Vengeance. This was released on October 15th this year.
It comes out on Volcanic Records, that's spelled with 2 Ks, just to further confuse me. This band formed in 2008 in Melbourne, Australia. This is their third full-length overall. They have 2 other EPs, and I would pretty much say that 12-Foot Ninja is Gent's answer to Faith No More. These guys
really good way of putting that
are hard to categorize, much like Faith No More, but it definitely has that genty sound, though I don't think it's labored as much as some other bands, and the fact that they throw in so many other different elements really kind of makes them their own thing.
Mm-hmm. They're all over the place. They usually are, but this album in particular, the first half.
It is just nuts. These guys may have a bigger heart-on for the 80s than I do, and believe me, I love the 80s, and they reminded me of it. We have a lot more synths on here. Like, this is like kind of 80s synths mixed in with, you know, their kind of standard, well, not so standard sound, big gent riffs, and this band has always been vocally driven because their frontman, Nick, or Ken as he goes by, has this just unbelievable crooning voice.
Yeah. It's something you can listen to. It's very creamy. It's pleasant to the ears. And usually I knock a lot of shit like this. But I don't know. Maybe it's just his vocals are that good, or they stand out to me personally, speak to me personally in a way that I don't mind it. Their music.
I feel like, you know, there's a fair amount of like metalheads that shit on clean vocals, myself included sometimes. But this guy can get away with it just because I think the lower register, that sort of gravelly, like kind of lounge singer kind of croon, allows him to get away with a lot of stuff, because even the vocal cadences are kind of all over the place too, like in terms of like just delivering like slow, smooth, like almost again kind of like bluesy, jazzy verses, and then like sort of like pop cadences. It all seems to work, and you'll pop in some nice heavy, harsh vocals every now and then just to remind you that, yeah, they're a fucking metal band.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you'll get more of that in the later part of the album, which we'll get into. But the first one, Start the Fire, very dynamic. It's very like a pop metal mix. It's like a perfect kind of pop metal mix, if that were a thing.
I mean, I guess it is. Like, again, when it comes down to like comparing this band to other bands, it's kind of difficult because I kind of had to go back, because a lot of these opening tracks, especially I Don't Know, I assume that's what IDK stands for.
And I don't know about that track.
I don't know about that track because it's just, again, so all over the place. And when it comes down to like their flip-flopping, the dynamics that they can squeeze into a 3-minute song is pretty remarkable.
It's crazy, and they're all over the place, and it fits, it flows fairly well. The song is oddly hooky. We seriously had to pause and take a minute to like process that song, and I dug the 8-bit kind of intro thing. You brought it up like being in an old arcade, but
Speak and Spell.
Like,
Speak and Spell's creepy.
It reminded me immediately of Igor, the song they did with paraphrasing,
Papaya with Corpse Grinder.
They kind of remind me of Igor in the sense of just chaos. Really. Yeah. You know, and just kind of not necessarily chaos, but it's all over the place.
Honestly, like in terms of like a very condensed form, BT Bam is kind of a band you could compare this to, because again, this band likes to bring in elements from all over the place. Like within one song, you are listening to like Meshuggah like polyrhythms and chugging like that, and then all of a sudden it can take a hard shift into Hall & Oates or Depeche Mode, and they're unexpected shifts. They come like at weird points, but somehow they always manage to deliver a hook, and a lot of it is vocal hooks are the big thing, because these choruses are infectious and they're strange.
Yeah, and they're really, really catchy. Really catchy choruses and stuff. We go on about riffs and stuff that you remember, stuff that you want to go back to. And this album is really full of that. It's odd that the transitions are sometimes in your face, like going from the second to the third song. Long Way Home, the second song, is like this really kind of, there's an orchestration behind it and stuff like that. And then it goes into Vengeance, which is like Ministry at 120 decibels right in your face.
Dude, the dubstep burp almost made me pee myself.
Yeah, and it's reminds me of those sour tones that Trent Reznor would get or something, and those tones that he kind of drones out. They're really uneasy, sometimes uneasy to listen to, but he kind of drones them out for effect. They incorporate those elements in the first half of this album and to great effect.
Yeah. Actually, the thing I got on that track was, honestly, like, again, Depeche Mode, because with all those kind of harsh electronics and such, but they're kind of soft in their own way, and the fact that he's crooning over them, that kind of remind me of like David Gahan in terms of his delivery. And I don't know, like, again, this was a lot to process, and I love Outlier. Outlier, I think, is a brilliantly fun album. It's just, I don't know, it's just a ridiculous album that just, it kind of goes all over the place, but I think that one was a little bit more straight ahead than this one. This one, especially that first half, just was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just
throw it
wherever we're going, I don't know.
It goes into this 80s Michael Jackson kind of song in Shock to the System. The pattern that he chose to deliver the words was a little off. It wasn't as hooky as some of his other vocal patterns in the chorus lines, but still a good song. I enjoyed it.
I got a lot of Prince on that. Like, I literally think I wrote down, Prince Bot 5000 takes over the 80s, whole DJ booth right there. It has that sort of weird, like, all right, you can pick out the different layers and such. Like, it kind of reminded me of stuff you'd hear in Purple Rain. It has that funky guitar lick behind it. Kind of a more electronic drum sound, though the drums on here are real. And it's just kind of cool being able to pick out those different layers of 80s layer cake that these guys were consuming during the whole recording of this.
Yeah, and then after that, the waltz. We're in for a waltz.
There's even a weird skit with the spoken word.
Yeah, over that.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah,
but
none of it does.
I was perpetually entertained. But the back half is, well, probably the most accessible part in terms of even kind of what the fans are used to.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more straightforward in terms of them. It's more rooted in, I guess, the stuff you would be more familiar with on their previous albums. But this is where they really deliver some, well, odd songs for this album, because Culture War is probably the most straightforward metal song on here.
Yeah.
Blast beats.
Awesome.
Thrashy gallops, chugging riffs. Like, I think this is probably the first one on here that I think the riffs really did a lot of the talking versus, all the other strange elements and the awesome crooning.
Yeah, it's great djent thrash mix. It's like a perfect mix of those two things, and the chorus is catchy as fuck.
And they still managed to squeeze in the catchy chorus, despite it's almost all harsh vocals, too.
Yeah, and then after the catchy choruses, the djent thrash goodness, you get a mariachi band.
Yep, just because they were in the building. You went from the mosh pit to a bullfight. Why not? Why not?
Why not? We were at a waltz.
This whole album
4 minutes ago, so
nuts. So might as well have fun with it. But honestly, like, one of the things I loved about this, it was one of the singles, Over and Out with Tatiana from Ginger. Holy shit, this is just a great single. And talk about two different vocalists really matching up well. Their voices play off of each other well, and this isn't like one trying to outdo the other, because sometimes you do get that in duets. This is both of them playing to their strengths and harmonizing beautifully to just create really great verses, really great choruses. The song itself is very melodic and hooky. Honestly, I think it's one of the best songs on the album. And honestly, a lot of these songs I think are just really fun and imaginative anyway.
Yeah, and I dig that song, and their vocals fit really well together, like you said. It isn't my favorite song of the album. I like some of the more crazier ones, and a Culture War, man.
Yeah.
That song jams to me. And the last song, Tangled, which is like kind of a great send-off, very like acoustic, ballady type, epic sort of song, and they don't end it on some big metal thing, which I kind of dig, and I felt that they didn't feel obligated to end it on some huge metal djenty type thing, and they did fantastic with it. It's a great send-off, a great ending to a great album. That was a very, very, very fun listen.
And I think that's kind of like an appropriate ending, because we didn't expect it, and we didn't expect a lot of the strange stuff that was on here. And
you kind of need a cool down.
Yeah, I would say a cool down. I was like, why not throw another element that they haven't heard yet? A nice, like, kind of acoustic, almost kind of pop ballad. And pop, I think, is As much as I hate bringing up pop music, unless it's the 80s, the 80s are cool. It has pop sensibilities. Like, this is a metal band that has pop sensibilities, and they know how to deliver, like, great, unique hooks. This is the kind of accessible I don't mind because it's at least creative. There's some passion into making it a little strange and a little just fun.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of it, but still, they know how to craft great songs and great hooks, and it's pretty much showcased right here.
Yeah, and throughout all those changes, it's just they do it seamless. It's real fits really well for all these different crazy ideas we're talking about. Once you listen to it, you see how they mold everything together, and it actually fits really well. There's not too many harsh changes into any of these. I mean, 70s Motown funk pop into death thrash is about as far as you can fucking get.
Yeah.
But they managed to do it, and it makes sense, which is important.
The whole thing kind of gels really well, and this is one of the few times I probably won't bitch about overproduction because I kind of think that it kind of needed this because of all the elements that are in there. Mm-hmm. But it sounds good. And I think that's like kind of the main thing here. And I don't really have a tremendous amount of complaints. I mean, maybe the song Gone, I think, it's still kind of wild and crazy, but it feels like tamed down for the radio. Maybe wild and crazy, like...
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel as adventurous as the other songs that were doing that earlier in the album. It kind of just feels like a little bit of a filler. But outside of that, I was engaged by every song on here just because they were delivering just something different. Kind of on each one, they were really trying pretty hard in here. I think this is just a fun listen.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree, and that's why I give it a 4 out of 5. It's going to be one of my favorite albums of the year for sure. Everything ties together really well. The vocals, I love the vocals on it. The duet was good, even though it wasn't my favorite song on here, but I kind of dig the quirkiness, and it kind of brought me back to some of these artists that I listen to. I love Michael Jackson. I love Ministry, Nails, all that stuff. So it kind of hit all those nostalgia nodes, and that's probably, why I dig it as much as I did. I'm wearing my nostalgia glasses, but fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah, I know it's weird. Once again, I feel nostalgic for something that came out today.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so weird.
Some of it just, I imagined myself in an arcade in the 80s, being a kid, young before my back hurt.
Some of this stuff is just heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
And you're taken back to those great times, when I could mosh.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, no. We're all broken. I'm also going to give it a 4. My problems with this were minimal. I was really excited for this one just because I was a big fan of Outlier. I thought Sound Machine was really good too. And these guys, while I was kind of tired of Gent, by the time they were really like starting to catch wind, especially on Outlier, those guys sounded fresh to me because it was fun. And I have a huge thing for Faith No More, and they kind of employed that sort of thing with Gent. And it kept it fresh. Mm-hmm. This, I think they even went a step beyond. Like, this is kind of just like a mishmash of weird 80s movies, Faith No More and Gent, and kind of groove metal and like AM Gold pop, and there's so much going on, but it actually works. It works all together as kind of one uniform, strange thing, and I had this ordered like a while ago, so I'm just kind of playing the waiting game.
Yeah, and I think this album for them is like them just, bringing out their big old metal thing and getting it down there and saying, all right, guys, we're not fucking around anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are kind of fucking around because we're having a shitload of fun. Like, I can't imagine writing these songs there wasn't a shit ton of smiling going on. It's like, dude, can you believe we're doing this? That is pretty much this album.
So if you like, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you care to do so. We do appreciate it. We got Patreon shirts at thrallsofmetal@gmail.com. Send us an email and we can negotiate how to get the shirt to you. It's a pretty painless process.
Yeah, pretty painless. Also, don't forget our announcement for the giveaway winner will be coming up. Thank you guys so much for getting us to 7,500. It has been an amazing ride, and it is all due to you guys. You keep this fresh, you keep this fun, and I love just bullshitting with you guys. This has been an awesome thing that we kind of just started out of boredom and passion for metal.
Yeah. I mean,
we
live and breathe this music.
Yeah, that's pretty much
really
it.
Do.
That's why we keep buying all the shirts and hats and stuff.
Everything.
There's a lot of stuff.
Basically, support
your
musicians. Go buy their stuff. Buy their albums. Buy their shirts.
So thank you guys very much for that. And with that, I thank you all for watching once again, and we will catch you later.